everyone, and welcome back to Spectrum Talk. My name is Ruby Jones, and I'm here today with Dawn Bookhardt, an attorney in Denver at Butler and Snow, who represents the law firms Public Finance, Tax Incentives, and Credit Markets Group. She serves on the firm's Diversity and Inclusivity Committee, as well as the Associates Review Committee, and she's well-versed in governmental finance, public and private partnerships, and public facilities development. Along with her impressive resume, Ms. Bookhardt is active in the community and devotes a great deal of time to nonprofit outreach and organizational leadership. Thank you so much for joining me today, Ms. Bookhardt.
My pleasure.
Well, I would love to know more about you. I know you obtained an undergraduate degree in Alabama, and I'd love to know, did you grow up there or in the South, or are you originally?
I grew up in good old Denver, Colorado.
Oh,
I
great.
was born in Omaha, Nebraska, but my parents moved here when I was 6 months old. My father had just finished medical school in Nebraska and headed west to Colorado, where my mother has had a long history of being in Colorado and Colorado citizenry. Her great grandmother was one of the first colored babies born in the state of Colorado. And so we
Wow.
got here when I was 6 months old. I've been here ever since, except for my brief stint doing my undergraduate work in Huntsville, Alabama at Oakwood University.
Okay, well, that's cool. I didn't know that. I was wondering, are you a Southern lady who just moved up here? But that's exciting that you have such a
It is a great, Oakwood University is a great university. My grandmother graduated from Oakwood University, which was then Oakwood College, in 1913. She was one of the first graduating classes from Oakwood, and so it became our family alma mater. My father, my uncles, my aunts, everyone has attended Oakwood. You have to. If you want to stay in this family, you have to.
what a rich family legacy, both there and in Colorado. That's very cool. Now,
Yes.
what inspired you to pursue a law degree and practice law as a career, specifically the corporate and finance sectors?
So I was really encouraged by my father to go to medical school. He said, "Oh, you are so good in science and math, and I want you to be a doctor, and I am so excited for you to go to medical school. The University of Colorado has an excellent medical school." And it was basically my rebellious nature that sort of rose up and said, "I'm not going to go to medical school. I'm going to be a lawyer."
Wow.
And when I said that, everyone was like, "Oh no, not a lawyer." And I said, "Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to be a lawyer." Basically, it was just out of this desire to strike out. Up until that point, our family really didn't have any lawyers, and everyone went into the medical or education fields. And I just said, break that mold. Let's break it. So that's what really, I've always wanted to be a lawyer, but I never thought I would have the bravery or the courage to just look my parents in the eye and say, "I'm going to be a lawyer." But
Wow.
I did, and after all was said and done, they were so happy that I took that route, and so am I.
That's wonderful. Now, you've represented several development projects throughout Denver over the years, other places as well. How does it feel to see the changes that have taken place in this city alone as a result of your oversight and negotiations?
I love it. I love it. I worked with a really highly qualified team of developers and lawyers to develop Central Park, which was then Stapleton, to redevelop it. And I mean, that was such a fun undertaking. I also worked on, I like my office because we have I can look out the windows and see projects that I participated in, and it's such a good. Oh, this is hard work.
Yeah.
We worked on the Denver Convention Center Hotel, which was just a dream. You know, Denver is such an incredible place, but we had a low tierage in terms of convention goers and convention planners, and we weren't one of the top tiers. We were down near, I won't mention other cities but there were other cities that are kind of small and in my mind a little bit less than Denver. And I remember going to the mayor saying, we really do need, this was Mayor Webb at the time. I said, we really do need a convention center hotel, please, so that we can raise in our rankings
Yeah.
to, some of the bigger cities. And so, he agreed. And so we went on this wonderful adventure of bringing in the right flag, building the hotel with tax exempt bonds for financing, and putting together a wonderful hotel that actually brought our city up from a tier 3 to a tier 2 city for convention purposes. Now meeting planners come to this city and they go, oh, this is incredible. You've got a wonderful convention center, and now you have a convention center headquarters hotel that is in close proximity to
Yeah.
the convention center, which, if you go to large conventions, when you're a meeting goer and say you want to just go to your hotel room for lunch, take a break, take a nap,
Mm-hmm.
make phone calls. Well, if the hotel is a million miles away, you are out of luck. You're just going to waste your time going back and forth. That's why meeting planners look at the adjacency of hotels to rate convention centers and conventions in certain cities. It's a secret, but it's wasn't a secret to us.
Yeah.
So then I worked on Denver Union Station. That was one of the most fulfilling projects that I worked on with a great team. Elbert Wedgeworth served as the president of the board. Jerry Glick was vice president. I worked alongside Cole Finnegan at
Mm-hmm.
Hogan Lovells, and Bill Mosher was our program manager, and his team was fabulous from Trammell Crow, and RTD stepped in, CDOT, Dr. Cog, and a metropolitan district that was formed for the purposes of capturing tax revenues on the private side. It was such a fabulous project. And then in 2017, we redid all the debt, we refinanced the project, we paid off these huge federal loans. We had a TIFIA loan, and we had a RIF loan out of the Federal Department of Transportation. And those two loans for almost $500 million were retired
Wow.
during this time. And the city of Denver then took pieces, RTD took pieces. It was an incredible undertaking, and those federal loans were paid off 27 years early.
Wow.
So we retired that debt, and now the city is still making money off of that DUS project. That was a project.
Well, it's funny. I grew up in Denver as well, and my dad actually worked in Union Station for all of my childhood. He worked for
My
Amtrak.
goodness.
Yeah, and so
So
I
you
grew up
remember
in
the
that
depot.
station.
Yeah, the old
Yeah.
depot. And I'm
Yeah.
so glad that it was preserved.
Mm-hmm.
Dana Crawford's group came in, and that was a magnificent cadre of people who came in and redeveloped that depot
Yeah.
into this iconic hotel, shops, everything that you could think of is right there. It is fabulous. And that project really did put Denver on the multimodal transportation map.
Yes.
put us way
Absolutely.
up there.
Well, it was beautifully done. And along with Denver Union Station, some of the projects that you're involved with, such as the expansion of the convention center, I'm really amazed by the foresight that you had, that Mayor Webb had at the time, because these were projects that you all saw ahead to the future and the growth of Colorado. And it's just amazing that those things were built into an infrastructure that was really needed, and
Absolutely.
that so much, I mean, even with Denver International Airport, so much can be attributed to the Black community in Denver. And I just think that's something really to be proud of.
Absolutely. And I've got to tell you, Ruby, the African American and Black community here in the city of Denver and the state of Colorado, and likely the region, is so significant. I mean, we've had two African American mayors, which, people who don't really know Denver always say, it must be a Black city.
Yeah.
Had two Black mayors, and I'm like, no, it's just that we're small in number but mighty.
Yes.
And I think the leadership that we have here in Colorado, that is made up of African Americans and other Black people who live, work, and play here is so enormous and so incredible. It makes me proud beyond words.
Yes. Me
Even
as well.
even when you look at the Denver urban spectrum,
Oh, yeah.
and you look at this fabulous publication media piece, and it's been around for a while, and I tell you what, it engages our city, it informs, it serves a huge purpose, and I'm so grateful that we've got it.
Well, thank you. I am too. And as I've told Ms. B. Harris and everyone who asks about the spectrum, it's really the publication that made me want to become a writer. And I love the impact that it's had on young people in the city and, like you said, on the community at large.
Yes.
Now, I recently read that you were inducted into the American College of Bond Counsel.
Yes.
Congratulations on that
Thank you.
induction.
Thank
I would
you.
love to know, yeah, like what exactly does that induction entail? What is the American College of Bond Counsel?
Okay, well, the American College of Bond Counsel is a group of bond attorneys who are recognized in their field, and it takes full advantage of experienced bond counsel who have worked on projects, who have peers that respect them. You must receive, I think it's 3 nominations from people outside of the firm where you're working. So these are your competitors,
Okay.
who are, so, you have to establish these wonderful relationships with people. And then they recommend you for installment into the American College, where you have like-minded attorneys and others um, who are there, providing good ideas, and really involved with the National Association of Bond Lawyers, NABL. It's more or less a prestige sort of induction, but it is something to really be proud of.
Well, congratulations once
Thank
again.
you.
Yeah. You hold active roles as a trustee and board member for several community organizations.
Yes.
Yeah. What do you find meaningful about your involvement in nonprofit outreach?
Oh my goodness. Well, I'll start with the Urban Land Conservancy, where I serve as the chair. The Urban Land Conservancy is all about preservation of urban lands. It's about affordable housing. It's about creating spaces for startup micro companies. It's about so much. I love the work that I do on that board. We get to deal with real estate professionals, We have dealt with Mr. Nesbitt, who's doing some development stuff. I think he's a recovering lawyer, but he has been moving and shaking in the world of development and being able. Chic is housed in one of our buildings, and we love having them. They are doing enormous work in the community. Um, and so I love Urban Land Conservancy. I just rolled off the board of Denver Botanic Gardens. That was my really satisfying space. I would advise everyone to take a trip to the gardens if you haven't been there recently. Go there. I used to love to go early in the morning. I still do when the weather is good, and go to the scripture garden. It's
Okay.
just beautiful. You can meditate, you can just hear the sounds of nature, you can observe its sights. Oh, that is absolutely wonderful. And I also chair the foundation board for Metropolitan State University of Denver. That's my happy space.
Okay.
That is a place where I feel I could do a lot of good for students.
Mm.
MSU students are different. They are non-traditional. They're generally older. 87%, I think, are first gen. That's huge. A lot of veterans, just people who are striving for better. And that is something that I just enjoy so much. I recently pledged $1 million to that university because I believe in its mission, its purpose, all of it.
Yeah.
And so, we are building that university, and I would advise, and it's kind of interesting. My gift actually is going to the Health Institute, which houses the Center for Speech, Language, and Hearing. But I figured since I wasn't going to be a doctor, I could do other things
Well, that makes sense.
make my family proud. So I just decided to do something in the health field, which makes everyone proud. My sister is a physician. She was there for the gift announcement by virtually, but she's so proud, and it's called the Bookhardt Family Speech Learning and Hearing Center. So that's right over there at Metro State University. They're building out the building shortly, and it's going to be fabulous.
That was going
And
to be my next question. It was about your extremely generous gift and to
yes,
congratulate you again on that building being named in your honor and in your family's honor. I just think that's incredible.
oh, we're so happy. The clinic that uh, the Health Institute is one large building. The clinic is a segment of the larger building. But, when we first went down this path of trying to put together a health institute, because we're running out of nurses, right?
Right.
COVID did us in. The pandemic was so hard. A lot of nurses have decided to go into other fields. They suffered through that thing, and they saw a lot of people pass away. They got burned out. And then we have other people coming up the ranks who are saying, I want to be a nurse. I want to take their place. So we have folks moving out of nursing and a lot of folks who want to move in. And MSU is going to stand there at the ready, preparing these future nurses to get out there and hit the ground running. It's amazing. I'm so proud of that university. And I have one last nonprofit, which is the Women's Foundation of Colorado,
Oh,
which
yeah.
I've just recently joined, and had my first meeting, I think, a week ago, and it was lovely. Lauren Castile is currently um, the executive director, and I joined that organization because of her,
Oh,
because
she's
she's so,
fabulous.
oh, she is incredible.
Yeah. Well, thank you for all of the work you're doing. It's so important, especially when you've contributed to so much of the growth and expansion in the city. The fact that you're willing to reach back and create pathways for others is really admirable. And, especially with your MSU Denver gift and what you're doing with the speech, language, and hearing sciences program, when I think of MSU Denver, I think of one of the most diverse campuses that I've ever seen. And so, when it comes to broadening the horizons of that diverse body of students, I'd love to know your thoughts on the changing social landscape when it comes to all these anti-diversity laws and things being passed by a
Oh,
number of states. All of these diversity programs and attention to inclusivity have been so wonderful for so many communities. And for someone who's working to create pathways for more diversity in fields such as nursing and medicine, how does it feel to see those laws kind of rolling out across the country?
well, it's a little scary,
Yeah,
frankly. I think it represents some regression, and we all just need to own up to it. But you know what? I'm not discouraged because what I know is that we'll find a way. We will
absolutely.
find a way. And, whether it means that I mentioned a little while ago to someone that I know that this regressive behavior reminds me a little bit of the beginnings of Jim Crow, where there's a group of people who say they have enough. They
Right,
don't need any more.
right.
But let's stop them right now. They're getting too far ahead. And I told this to this associate of mine, and he said, "Oh, I think that's ridiculous. And, it's not at all like Jim Crow." And he wasn't a man of color. And so, I thanked him for his perspective. But I have my own perspective through my own lens that's filtered through my experiences.
Exactly.
And so I see things a little bit differently, but I'm sure that we will find a way.
Yeah.
We are a brilliant people, and let me tell you something. We got ourselves out of slavery. Yes, we had help from others, but we really led that charge, and we can do it again and again and again, and we have, and we will.
Yes, ma'am. We are resilient. That's for sure.
We are resilient.
Now, changing the subject a little bit, Miss Bookhardt, what do you enjoy doing in your free time?
What free time? Um,
Good
well,
answer.
I love hanging out with my daughter, Don Patrice Jr. She is a wonderful daughter. She works for me currently as my personal assistant. She does a great job, and she is always there for me. So I love hanging out with her. Love hanging out with family, with my sisters, my 95-year-old mother.
Wow.
And then I have two very special, and my brother, when I see him, he lives in Omaha. But we have two special little people in our family. They're not really, they're fur people, Rusty and Petey, and they are two Yorkie poos, and they require a lot of time. They're super spoiled, and they are really, one of them is really bad. He bites everyone. So we haven't had company at our house in a couple of years because
Uh-oh.
he's bitten everyone. And people are like, no, because you can't lock him up. He gets out. He's an escape artist.
Wow.
I used to love to play golf. I acquired a terrible disease in 2015 called acanthamoeba, which destroyed my eyesight. I've
Okay.
had 17 eye surgeries to try to fix it. But I do like to walk around with my dark glasses because they do look cool.
They
You know,
do.
but but it has been a really interesting road. I went golfing. I just wanted to go out and see if I could hit a ball or two. And King Harris has a golf tournament through the Epworth Foundation every year in August, I think it is. And so I went, and he said, "Are you going to hit a ball this year?" And I said, "I'm going to try, King." But I was nervous and I didn't know if I could connect with the ball. I didn't know if I had tried a couple of years ago to swing and it didn't work so well. So, very interesting story. And this is how God works, I think. So I'm riding around. A friend of mine, Robbie Jones, flew in from Houston. She said, I'll caddy you. You can do
Wow.
this. So she caddied me and she was driving the cart and we were waiting in line to hit a ball. And um, the golf marshal was sitting there in his little golf cart and he said, so what are you ladies up to? And I said, well, I'm just out here today trying to see if I can hit a ball, but I'm really scared. I lost my vision and I don't know. And he said, well, how blind are you? And I said, well, I'm B4. And I said, that means, and he said, I know what B4 is. He said,
Wow.
I was an occupational therapist for blind veterans.
Oh my gosh.
And he taught them all how to golf blind. I
Wow.
was like, what?
That's
And
amazing.
so he told us where to go and supplied some tips. And I started hitting those balls and I was actually connecting. And I said, wow, I can do this. If I have a caddy, I can do this. You need a caddy to say, to sort of show you how to address the ball and to help you get the right club and to get you positioned. But other than that, I mean, I said, I can play this game. I can't see where the ball goes, but I can hear it.
Yeah.
So that's good.
Wow. Well, I'm sorry about your illnesses and everything that you've been through, but talk about resilience. I mean,
Yeah,
I think it's so courageous that you're still so active and that you're willing to get out there and try to do the things that you love still and enjoy them.
absolutely.
That's wonderful.
Absolutely. I think we all have to do that. We can't be defined by our limitations, can we? And once we learn that and we kind of grab a hold of that and, get that inward confidence, I think we're set.
Yeah. Well, speaking of inward confidence, do you have any other professional or personal goals that you're working towards in the years to come?
Well, the prospect of retirement isn't appealing to me. It's not
Mm,
attractive. I like to keep it going, keep it moving. But I would like to get a certificate or a degree in culinary arts.
oh, wow.
I think that would be so much fun. And I really want to work with two sisters to get them established at the airport.
Okay.
I mean, their food is fabulous. They catered my mother's 95th birthday party, and they made these jackfruit barbecue sandwiches.
Mm,
And everyone there was like, this is so good. It tasted like pulled chicken, or, I'm a vegetarian, and a lot of people at my mom's party were vegetarian, and they laid us out.
wow.
It was so good. So yes, I want to do something with food.
That's really cool. I'll have to try them out, and I would love to
Oh,
try some of
dude.
your food as well, because
Oh, yes. Try it.
vegetarian creations are some of my
Yes,
favorites.
yes.
So,
They have something called Colorado caviar.
uh,
You should try it along with the barbecue jackfruit sandwiches. Best in the world.
all right.
Yeah,
Now, I'm sure there will be young admirers of your work and legacy who want to follow in your footsteps. How would you advise young people to prepare for a career in finance law? And how would you advise them to have some of the confidence that you've shown throughout your career and your life?
sure. Oh boy, I've got a lot of advice. So, the first thing I would say, of course, keep your grades up.
Mm,
Just even if you have to, even in high school, discipline yourself. Take that extra hour and rather than just hanging out with friends or something, do a little extra reading. Take take that extra step, make that extra mile, and make it count. Do the same thing in college, and then you can get to law school easily. your college grades are wonderful and you're thinking law school is super expensive, which it is, get a scholarship. Keep your grades up and get a scholarship. And then when you're ready to start practicing, understand and know there is not a deal in the world that has ever been done with one person.
Mm,
There's always at least two. So relationships, 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 build them. Know your trade, know your craft, be good at what you do, but always be good to people. Always be good to people and stay in touch because they're going to be your lifeline ultimately.
I love that. That's wonderful advice. Thank you. I'm
Yeah,
enjoying our
absolutely.
conversation so much, and I
Me
want to be
too.
respectful of your time. So that's all
Okay.
the questions that I have, but I'm really enjoying learning about your journey. I think it's fascinating, and I um, thank you, on behalf of the city of Denver for all the work that you've done to build up this city. And thank you once again for joining me today.
Well, thank you so much, Ruby, and you have a great afternoon.
You too. Thank you.
Okay.
And
Bye
thank you.
now.
Bye. And thank you all for tuning in. Please remember to support Denver Urban Spectrum's community reporting and subscribe to this channel for more information about people who are creating waves and making change. I'll see you next time. Take care.